Day 2 of the NHL Draft was eventful, so you're going to be seeing some of the highlights of my live reaction to rounds 2 through 5.
You are Locked On NHL Prospects, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hello and welcome back to Locked On NHL Prospects, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. On this show, we break down everything prospects related for you 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. As always, I'm your host, Sebastian Hyde, typically joined by Kareem Ramadan, but on today's episode, and for the live stream, that this is basically a cut-up version of, I was on my own as Kareem was at the draft in Buffalo. So enjoy this show. There was certainly some eventful moments. I obviously couldn't include the entire thing, but you're welcome to go watch a rerun of the live stream, 2.5 hours of day 2 of the draft if you are interested. But this is kind of more of that highlight reel. So without further ado, make yourselves comfortable and let's dive straight into the show. The Vancouver Canucks picked up the faller, the guy that shouldn't have been available and was in Brooks Rogowski. I think that was a great selection at 33 there for the Canucks. Big, rangy, pretty special overall profile with massive size, really deft skater, good puck handler and passer of the puck. That is Brooks Rogowski going to the Vancouver Canucks, who I was convinced was going top 20 on draft day. So really nice value. The Chicago Blackhawks took my favorite player that still survived to day 2 on the board, Xavier Villeneuve, with that 34th overall pick. Incredibly dynamic offensive defenseman. Undersized, certainly, but a great skater, a hard worker. He's got some holes in his game defensively, especially because he's off to Boston University, who did wonderful work developing both Hudson brothers, well, the defensive Hudson brothers, especially. And I think he's a great fit in Chicago. He's a profile that they lack and that they get. So Villeneuve to Chicago, love that pick. And then they keep swinging on upside, and that is Ryan Rubrick, a player that came into the draft with some top 5 hype to him. He's a guy that has a booming shot, but where the engagement, the effort level, how hard he's skating was really the big question looming over him all season long. So I like these swings for Chicago. They need that big boom, that big upside, and they're going hard for that with both of these early second-round selections. Calgary picking up Chase Harrington, not a player I watched an overly tremendous amount. I'll get back to him later. Same with Matthias Vannanen. Who I did watch a lot is Casey Mutrin going to the Seattle Kraken. They're at 38th overall. Big, heavy, power forward, elite at dragging the puck from the boards to the middle of the ice. So Casey Mutrin is a player that I have so much time for. I think he's a hard-working power forward with some playmaking skill to boot, and that's a profile that you could always use more of on your team, and he's a really nice fit. I'll just grab the draft board here, put it on screen so you guys can follow along as I will be probably lagging behind certain picks for decent chunks of the show because there's a lot going on. Just trying to find the right layout. Let's go with this. Okay, so yeah, Casey Mutrin to Seattle. Love that pick for the Kraken. Marcus Ruck, shockingly, goes 39th overall to the Pittsburgh Penguins, who picked up his twin brother, Liam Ruck, with their first-round selection. The Ruck twins stay together. That is how this draft should have gone. So good NHL. You did something decently for once, keeping the twins together. This was important. Seamus Ignatavicius going to Florida is a very, very Florida pick. Probably the most NHL-ready player to fall outside the first round. He's powerful. He's mean. He can play the net front, played against pro competition in a very good league this season in the Swiss National League with Geneva. He's a player that I think is heavy and mean. That's the Florida Panthers, and he could be a player for them within 2-3 years. He's as another Atlantic Division fan here for the Montreal Canadiens, don't love that pick because that just keeps their identity rolling. Then at 41, love this pick for the Vancouver Canucks. Nicholas Aram-Olsson is the guy, one of the athletes available here in the second round. He's a quick skater, really wicked shot off the rush. That blend of speed and goal-scoring ability was one of the top, I guess, pairs of offensive tools for me left on the board here in the second round. A lot of I think fellow scouts also see him as a potential middle six complementary winger, but a guy that brings some areas of need for the Vancouver Canucks in terms of speed and goal scoring. The Calgary Flames went for the first goaltender selected, and to me it is the best goaltender in the draft class, Tobias Treball from the Youngstown Phantoms in the USHL. He is such a composed and poised netminder, this guy. His team played miles better with him in net than when any backup or other goaltender was playing. He's a player that just has a winning mentality, I think. Has certainly some puck tracking that could still improve a little bit, but overall, I like this profile a lot for a goaltender. I think he has real starting caliber potential. And for the Calgary Flames, you can certainly use another young goaltender in the pipeline. So big fan of this. And then at 43, the Colorado Avalanche go for upside because, of course, they do. And it's Igor Shilov, the Russian center from Victoriaville in the QMJHL. Here's a player with clear, not just first round skill, but top 10, top 15, top 20 skill is Igor Shilov, falling to 43 with the Colorado Avalanche. He's a incredibly intelligent offensive creator, a very, very capable playmaker, creative playmaker, skilled playmaker, has a good shot as well. The question here is pace. He plays at a low speed, doesn't keep his feet moving, wants to operate at a glide, tries to always slow the play down rather than ramp up the pace. That's going to have to change. However, if he's able to adapt, you get a real dangerous top six center out of this player. So there's real boom potential here, I think, for the Avs and Yegor Shilov. And in the coming picks, we've got the Devils, the Anaheim Ducks, the Los Angeles Kings, as well as the Detroit Red Wings and Florida Panthers have another very good second round selection here as the draft keeps on moving. I'll be keeping an eye on potential trades as well. Please do leave comments with your thoughts, what you're hoping to see overall here on day 2 of the draft, what you're excited for. And I think we might have a Nikita Sherbakov pick here to the New Jersey Devils, and we do indeed. Yeah, this is great value, I think, on day 2 of the draft. Big, mobile Russian defenseman is Nikita Sherbakov, 6'5", 187 pounds, skates well, kills plays, doesn't overcomplicate things with the puck on a stick. You know what you're getting here. It's not a dynamic play creator, not an elite puck move by any stretch of the imagination, but a capable one in Nikita Sherbakov. You're getting a 6'5", number 4, number 5 defenseman who has a very high likelihood of hitting that upside and is probably only a few years out, probably a bit quicker of a project compared to the other players available in this range of the draft. And holy, I like this pick. Some of you might not know who this player is, and I would forgive you because he's not been on all that high on many radars this season. It's Jaden Kurtz from who played Minnesota high school hockey with Rogers High this season, also played in the USHL with the Chicago Steel. This is a big puck-moving defenseman, 6'3", 190 pounds, mostly predicted to go 3rd, 4th round on draft day, a player that certainly has some really fun tools, but I know that people weren't perhaps, or maybe didn't watch him all that much or weren't fully convinced, but I love this pick for the Anaheim Ducks. Jaden Kurtz changed the complexion of the Chicago Steel blue line when he arrived on that team this season. Before him, they were mismanaged on the back end. They were confused in terms of triggers for breakout passes and whatnot. As soon as he arrived with a high degree of poise and intelligence with the puck on his stick that makes him a very strong breakout passer, he really, really, really elevated that blue line. I love this selection for the Anaheim Ducks. I think that there's some number 5 puck moving upside, maybe number 4 if you're really lucky and you hit on this prospect. But here's a player that I thought I could get as a value add more like in the late 2nd, early 3rd round maybe. But no, he goes in the first half of the 2nd round. I like that a lot. Liam Lefebvre is the next player here off the board, going to the Los Angeles Kings, and certainly fits the LA Kings preference of style of player. And here I was expecting the Kings to go for their big burly forward in the first round with a guy like Ilya Morozov, but instead they're keeping that for the second round with Liam Lefebvre. Here's a 6'3", 203-pound right shot center who played with Rimouski in the QMJHL, as well as Chicoutimi. Split the season between those two teams. This season was roughly a point a game and up to the ante once he got traded to Chicoutimi, where he had 17 goals and 30 points in 25 games. This is a hard-working player, a guy who's heavy, a player that really stepped up his game in the playoffs as well, being tough to play against, and was just intensely physical and constantly engaged. And that's the style of profile that I think the Kings certainly want more of in their system, and that's why he is the next player off the board here. And we have some interesting players still available. Let me pull up some rankings to see who is falling, but if you're looking for high skill value add, I was gonna say Victor Plant, and here he goes to the Detroit Red Wings with his brother Max, both having been second round picks at 47th overall. What a beautiful story that is. The Plant brothers are reunited, and Victor Plant has a lot of Max Plant in him in terms of style. Two very pacey, very intense wingers, highly intelligent, strong playmakers, guys that are small, sure, but drive the middle, are intense, are engaged, are tough to play against, initiate contact. I love this pick for Detroit. I think Plant was one of the higher upside bets left on the board here in the mid-second round, and Detroit already has both his player comp and older brother, so I adore this fit. I think this is the exact range that he should be going in. I think it's good value in this range even. I think he has some second-line upside if he really hits, and you don't have all that many players with that type of potential left on the board here on day 2 of the draft, but I'll pass the question on to you all. Who are you expecting to go here in the next few picks? We've got the Florida Panthers up next, so I'm guessing a big, burly, mean player might be the guy here. But yeah, let me know what you're thinking. This is always fun. Like day 2 is Christmas for me rather than day 1 of the draft. This is where things move faster. You see kind of like your favorite little players get picked up late in later rounds as well. Something that is always certainly fun to follow. And yeah, here as we check back in with the second round, yeah, Florida, LA, Anaheim again. 3 teams that have just picked. I mean, LA and Anaheim literally just picked. Florida was a bit earlier at 40th with Simas Ignatavicius. But yeah, this is interesting so far with the draft, and I'm certainly enjoying this day 2 so far. But yeah, we'll see who the next players are here. Let me pull up the Elite Prospect Draft board. Just so I can follow along. Like, who is falling? There still are some interesting players available. We've got, I mean, Victor Plant was the guy I was going to mention. I mean, if you want to go for a D+1, this is starting to be Ethan McKenzie range, Georgios Pantelis. If you want some right Ds, both Timofey Runso and Samuel Alalari are still available. Do I see Ryder Cali as the pick? Oh my God, that is so Florida. I should have known that. I should have guessed that immediately. Well, a faller, a guy that should have gone earlier, in my opinion, Ryder Cali is arguably the most violent player left on the board. So of course the Florida Panthers pick him. 6'2", 214-pound forward, can play center, can play wing. Here's a player that is just so direct, very, very violent, very physically engaged, hard to play against, just your pain in the ass kind of bottom 6 projection, and might play that role in 3 years time, which I think for a back half of the second round now pick is a very quick timeline as well. If you're thinking of potential development curves, Ryder Cali, I saw first round value in this player, as did a lot of my colleagues at Elite Prospects. So great value. Florida getting 2 power forwards, or at least powerful forwards, with these 2 second round picks, both of which probably should have gone in the first round. So there you go. That's Florida doing Florida things. If you've got a sweet tooth just like I do, you know how tough it is to find that perfect treat without all of that sugar. That's why the Fruity Rainbow 5-Hour Energy Shot brings that nostalgic flavor back in a whole new way. Fruity Rainbow 5-Hour Energy Shots treat your taste buds to an explosion of flavor with a tasty caffeine kick. It's a quick, easy way to satisfy that sweet craving while keeping things simple and on the go. A zero sugar treat that's sweet tooth approved is such a rarity, especially when it comes with the benefits in terms of fueling you with energy in the midday when you just need that extra kick. I know I love 5-Hour Energy because I can just pocket it and I have that boost alongside me at any point in the day. Get candy flavored chaos with Fruity Rainbow 5-Hour Energy Shots available online at 5hourenergy.com or on Amazon. There are more live events worth seeing right now than ever before, from games, concerts, comedy shows, and festivals. The hard part usually isn't deciding what you want to attend, it's actually getting the tickets to go. Between long waiting times, confusing checkout processes, and surprise fees, buying tickets can sometimes feel harder than it should. That's why so many fans are turning to Gametime, the app built to make buying tickets simple with upfront pricing, seat views before you buy, and exclusive saving opportunities that help you get to the events you want to without that usual hassle. My biggest pet peeve is when you think you found a great deal, get all the way to checkout, and suddenly the final price looks completely different to what you were calculating. Gametime takes that guesswork out. There's just something different about being there live, whether it's the crowd reaction, the energy in the building, or a moment that everyone experiences together. It's one of those things that just doesn't fully translate through a screen. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with every type of event with Gametime. Download the Gametime app today, create an account, and use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Again, that's code LOCKEDON, LOCKEDON, for $20 off. Download the Gametime app today. Of identity, Mathis Preston is a natural goal scorer. He's a guy with a wicked shot, a whole bunch of dynamism, the highest skill player left on the board, and the Anaheim Ducks swing on him here at 50th overall. Had a down season this season, this year, split between the Spokane Chiefs and the Vancouver Giants in the Western Hockey League. Had higher rates than his D-1, but if you're looking for a guy that has boom potential, could be a top six like dominant rush creating goal scorer. Yeah, he's undersized and he's a bit too perimeter based for my liking. He isn't all that physically engaged or doesn't have that like small man built like a fire hydrant vibe to him. But I think that Mathis Preston has real top 40 value in this class. So to get him at 50th overall, I think very good business here from the Anaheim Ducks, who have been targeting, I think, some pretty high upside swings as well, with Jaden Kurtz being the 45th pick recently. A guy I like a lot. I watched a lot this season in the USHL and the games he played with the Chicago Steel. I think between those two players, you got a defenseman, you got a forward, you got really nice value there. And then the Carolina Hurricanes picked up a player that had first round value because they only ever pick fallers. That is their identity as a drafting team, is pick the guys that shouldn't be available anymore. William Hawkinson is right there. He's a player that had first round pedigree for most of the season. He's a 6'5", 217-pound mean left shot defenseman. He's a player that sure leaves you wanting maybe a little bit more in terms of true puck moving upside, but William Hawkinson is really a mean rush defensive specialist, a guy that is tough to beat, tough to get around. I think he's great value for the Carolina Hurricanes. Could be a third pair, like number 5 guy, maybe number 4 if he develops really nicely. There certainly is that upside. He's not like this elite skating guy like most Swedish defensemen in this range often are. He's a decent mover in terms of how he gets around the ice, but he's not like this. He's not like a Malte Gustafsson in terms of his skating ability whatsoever. That being said, I think I expected him to go top 35. So to see him go at 51, Carolina always getting good value. They keep doing so here, and he plays a mean brand of hockey that could help you in the playoffs down the road. And then we've got the Edmonton Oilers, first pick of the draft here at number 52. I wonder where they go with this selection. In terms of some players available that are of note, guy I like a lot is Alexander Bilecki from the Kitchener Rangers, a defenseman with strong skating who just didn't play all that much because it was a stacked roster. We stuck on the third pair. Jonas Sigurdsson from the Prince Albert Raiders is a really skilled big man, 6'3". He's a guy with high-end IQ, very, very good playmaker. He has a massive physical frame, and he could be like a playoff specialist, like power forward guy for you. In terms of top talents, everyone's off the board for me. In terms of guys in my top 32, do we have any remaining? Nope. No top 32 talent left on my board. Dmitry Borichev's probably a goaltender who should go soon. He's a player I'd keep an eye on. Rudolph Burzkalns is a hardworking, massive center who dominates the net front, 6'3". Think like a Nick Raw or Dmitry Voronkov style of player. Played with Muskegon this season. He's a guy I have a lot of time for. And I think that there's also some room to grow in terms of puck skills. Beyond that, Breck Liskey, getting into that range now. Timofey Runso. Ethan McKenzie should be coming pretty soon. If you want like a violent winger, go for Landon Amrine. Though he's also just a pretty like skill guy. Though he is 6'5", absolutely huge. We're very much into that second round tier of players now. To me, there's no like clear first round faller that is like still off the board. Like for me, that was Xavier Villeneuve was the one who fell, as well as Brooks Rogowski probably today too. That I did not expect to still be available. More so for Rogowski than for Villeneuve, to be fair. But yeah, especially now with Preston off the board and Hawkinson, you're starting to get a bit more into the weeds here, where I think there's a drop off in talent in this draft class. So I think my top couple tiers of players are fully taken, which happens by 51st overall, is earlier than it was in past seasons for me. Like something I've found while doing this for multiple years is every year I somehow just get a bit closer to the mean a little bit with my rankings as well in terms of the players I value. Like, sure, I still have some nice swings on talent, but like one of those guys for me was Jaden Kurtz, and he went 45th overall. He was one of my like kind of like subtle guys in the back pocket that might fall outside the top 100, but is for me a top 50 talent. But no, he's gone at 45, and Anaheim saw it the same way. The Pittsburgh Penguins do it. Wow. They pick a player that I deemed worthy of being selected for like 2 drafts in a row now. That's Tomas Galvash out of Czechia going in the second round. To me, it's slightly silly because Galvash hasn't shown anything this year that he didn't, to me, show last year. It's just the stage on which it happened, being the World Juniors, was just bigger. Cool. I mean, I like the player. I like the pick. Like, I'm really excited to see Galvash get selected. I'm a bit annoyed because he played pro hockey a year ago. Obviously, the point tallies like exploded a bit this season, going from 11 points in 43 games to 24 and 32. But for those who don't know, this is a high-end skating left shot defenseman who's small, is a great puck mover, a guy that helps out defensively, really, really quick in a straight line, excellent off the rush, can really kill you in transition, as he did to many teams at the World Juniors. And then this year against pro competition in the Czech Pro League with Billy Tigre Liberec, 32 games, 8 goals, 24 points is pretty nuts production. But again, I don't think he took massive developmental strides this season. I'm not saying that as a critique on the player whatsoever. I think that he is the style of player that he is. I love the style of player that he is. I think he's awesome. I just think that if you liked him enough for a second round pick this year, you should have spent a 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th round selection on him a year ago. That to me is a slight miss in terms of scouting due diligence for last year. But hey, look, Dubas and the Penguins love their high IQ guys. Here's a mobile special profile where there aren't, now with Villeneuve and Blale off the board, this is probably the next best guy who is that profile of shifty, tough to contain left shot defenseman. Again, just should have gone for that pick last year, as I would have done, or the year before that, which I also would have done. He was a ranked draft talent for me 2 years running, and now in the 3rd year. where I ranked him around the same range. Now he goes to the Pittsburgh Penguins at 54th overall, which is kind of amusing. Draft keeps on rolling. It's kept being very interesting. The Montreal Canadiens traded up about 5 or so slots with the Carolina Hurricanes to select Timofey Runso at 57th overall. Very aggressive, activating right shot defenseman. That reminds me a lot of the Bryce Pickford pick from last year. It's not as big of a shot, but still D+1 WHL defenseman who had his breakout campaign. And absolutely lit it up in terms of both munching minutes as well as scoring points. So I like that a lot for the Habs. It's a targeted selection, and I think Runso is the most interesting right D left available. I like him more than an Alan Lowry for instance. But just looking at the draft tracker here. Let me get this right back up on screen for you all. And wow, we have Joe Iginla going to the Calgary Flames at 65. Okay. That's how you start off the third round, I guess. Edmonton got the big centerman and Rudolph's Burzkowns. I like that pick a lot. Burzkowns is a beauty. Hardworking, big boy, can dominate the net front, and there's some skill to work with here as well. Jakub Vanacek is a defenseman that I know some of my colleagues have enjoyed as well. But Alexander Bilecki going to Toronto, I really like that pick. This is a player that I think would go a lot higher today if he had not been playing on the Kitchener Rangers, because the Kitchener Rangers were awesome. They were elite this season, and as a result of that, Bilecki had small minutes. He was stuck on a third pairing. Yeah, he was really, really kind of a depth piece on that team. Whereas on other rosters, he could have been a top 4, top pairing guy, and I think he would have gone earlier. The Carolina Hurricanes went out and got Viggo Sorensen. That's an interesting one. I didn't expect him to go this high, but clearly they really like Sorensen. Philadelphia goes with another goaltender, big goaltender I'm not familiar with Martin Slohavec. I'm definitely butchering that pronunciation. And the Rangers got great value, I think, with Ben McBeath here at 64 on the board, a player that just brings a lot of puck moving to the blue line. But let's catch up with the third round. And yeah, Samuel Alalari is off the board here at 66 to Chicago as well. Joe Iginla at 65 is interesting to me. Some people call the Malhotra pick a Nepo pick. This to me feels more like that in terms of what I've seen of these players. Like Malhotra had value at number 3. Joe Iginla, look, he's awesome at retrieving pucks. He's still quite small, 5'10", 170. This is not like an awful off-the-board pick or anything, but in terms of tools, like this is far from a Tij Iginla. The shot, the skating, the handling, the physicality are all like subpar NHL caliber, I would say, in terms of projection. He's going to have to really become more dynamic if he wants to make a big push for the NHL. That being said, he is young with the class, August 13th. Maybe we see him absolutely explode with the Vancouver Giants this upcoming season. He's going to have other really great players to work off with, including Mathis Preston. Like those two guys on a power play could be very exciting. But I also feel like having a Mathis Preston in the lineup is going to constrain the opportunities that Joe Iginla receives. So I'm not sure. This feels high to me for the Calgary Flames to get Joe Iginla. Also, ED is way more common than most guys think, and millions of men deal with it at some point in their lives. HIMSS offers a simple, convenient way to take care of your health by connecting you with licensed healthcare providers online and giving you access to personalized treatment options from the comfort of your own home. No awkward appointments, no pharmacy lines, just a straightforward process designed to make getting care easier. Taking care of yourself should never feel so complicated, and HIMSS makes the process private and easy to navigate. It's healthcare built around your schedule and your comfort. Between work, family, and everything else going on in life, finding time for appointments can be such a hassle. Having access to licensed providers online means that you can prioritize your health without having to rearrange your entire day. To get simple online access to personalized, affordable care for ED, hair loss, weight loss, and more, visit hims.com/LockedOnNHL. That's hims.com/LockedOnNHL for your free online visit. hims.com/LockedOnNHL. Prescription required. See website for details and important safety information. Sildenafil is the generic version of Viagra. Viagra is a registered trademark of Viatris Specialty LLC. Hims is not affiliated nor endorsed by Viatris. Ethan McKenzie is going to say, yeah, I like this pick. A re-entry player, another WHL re-entry after Timofey Runsel went to Montreal a few picks earlier. Ethan McKenzie had a great showing at the World Juniors for Team Canada as kind of a surprise addition because he absolutely came out of the gate this season with a head of steam playing with the Oil Kings in the WHL. I like this selection. He's off to the University of North Dakota alongside some excellent defensemen. So don't expect him to play first pairing minutes because there will also be guys like Carson Karls and Keaton Verhoff in that program next season. But Ethan McKenzie's basically a draft eligible this season because he's a September 2nd. Oh no, 2 years ago. He's a double re-entry. Anyways, he turns 20 on September 2nd. Give him a year in the NCAA, and he might be NHL ready right after that. He's a decent puck mover, and he's a guy that just never stops battling or working. So that's a profile that this team needs more of. One of the player comps that we had for him at Elite Prospects was Jake McCabe. So this is a guy that's a really good baseline in terms of skating. There's perhaps some offense to uncover here in that Jake Wallman type of mold, but physically engaged, 6'1", 190 pounds, intelligent player, doesn't overcomplicate things with the puck on his stick, and could just be your mobile two-way third pair guy. That's good value here. He was definitely among my next five guys that I would want to see drafted. So like that for the Toronto Maple Leafs. And then the Nashville Predators stop the fall for Dmitry Borichev at 70th overall. Arguably the most athletic goaltender in this draft class. Our goaltending scouts at Elite Prospects love this kid all season long. He's 6'2", 188 pounds, but a player with a significant upside, especially through that baseline of athleticism that he does bring to the equation, and a player that had some first round talk for us in mid-season and only fell a little bit later on. Pretty similar profile to Pyotr Andrianov, who was a first-round pick a year ago. So to get him here in the third round, Nashville is excellent at drafting goaltenders. They're excellent at drafting falling goaltenders, undervalued netminders. They did it with Jack Ivankovic a year ago, and now they've got Dmitry Borichev. Excellent, excellent, excellent value. He's probably the best skater among goaltenders in this year's draft. Just the edge work, the little details, that athleticism, the explosive post-to-post transitions are excellent. Where you need some more development with Dmitry Borichev is really in terms of play reading and in terms of positioning. He can overcommit. He can kind of still leave some holes and kind of like lose track of his post a little bit more than other netminders in this class. And he's a bit raw. But goaltenders, they need time anyways. Give it 4-5 years, and I think Dmitry Borichev will be either the best or the second best goaltender in this class. And then the LA Kings go for Blake Zielinski at 80th overall, which I think is really nice value. Zielinski's one of the highest skilled players left on the board in this range. A very gifted goal scorer, got a heavy shot, gets it off his stick so quickly. He's committed to Providence College, played with the Des Moines Buccaneers in the USHL this season, 25 goals, 55 points in 53 games. 6 feet tall, 187 pounds. He's a guy that is really a battler, whether it be behind the net, along the boards, in front of the net. He's a guy that just immediately looks to create offense as soon as he turns over the puck, and it's why he was our 56th ranked player at Elite Prospects this season. That blend of skill, middle drive, physicality is really impressive for Blake Zielinski. I think that's excellent value there for the Los Angeles Kings. They're at 80th overall. For the live stream, guys, I'll be wrapping up the third round here, maybe do a couple picks in the fourth and probably call it a day at that point. Thank you all for sticking around, even though we had some technical difficulties earlier. My router absolutely abandoned me at the worst possible moment, and the stream didn't die. I was just not there for a solid 10 minutes. And still some people stuck around through that. So I thank you for it. And then at 81st overall, we've got Tomas Horenko to the New York Rangers, a Slovak center who absolutely lit up the World Juniors, a guy with a lot of offensive potential. I see him more as a winger than a center down the road, but developing with HK Nitra in Slovakia, which has been an absolute pipeline of development. If you remember, Shimon Nemec came through there as well as his younger brother Adam this season. And he had 31 points in 44 games against pro competition, 9 goals, 22 points. That is excellent. At the World Juniors, had 5 goals and 8 points in 5 games. The production is wildly good with this player. The question marks here are a little bit more in terms of the consistency. Still a very dynamic creator, very elusive, very difficult to contain, and a guy that can absolutely carry the puck and create some really beautiful playmaking sequences. The skill with him is one of the better ones outside the first round. So to get him in the mid-third, I think is excellent value here for the Rangers. That is the type of player to target in this range. And then we've got, and that does it for the episode. I hope that you enjoyed this kind of mashup, cut up version of the live stream here on day 2 of the draft. Certainly a lot did go down. I think some really interesting swings were made. There were some very nice fits as well of players with particular teams. So hope you enjoyed it. If you did, leave us a comment down below with your thoughts. What were some of your favorite picks of the draft as a whole? And if you're watching on YouTube, of course, do leave a like and comment and subscribe. Always makes a difference here for us on the show. And if you're listening on your favorite podcasting platform, please do make sure to make us your first listen of the day. It's always massively appreciated. So that is it here for today. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll catch you tuning in again very, very soon.